This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. Delighted to be joined by, I never really see you in a hoodie.
Well, I'm a proper G, me. You don't understand. You see me in shirt and tie, slick looking suits. You might even see me in my daughter's dress, but you've not seen me in a hoodie. You don't, that's how I roll. I'm at home. I'm a civilian and it's Sunday. I'm just saying.
Okay, Sunday's an acceptable day to be wearing a hoodie, fine. Johnny, wanted to get your reaction to, well, something that's very much talked about on social media at the moment. Anthony Joshua, first of all, being seen in like a knee support thing, which obviously raised some questions. I think that's been addressed, that he needs a little bit of rest for 4 weeks, but it won't affect him fighting at some point this year. We'll come on to that. But Anthony Joshua attended the Black Lives Matters peaceful protest in Watford yesterday, and he gave a speech which seems to be on someone's behalf. He was reading from a sheet from someone he knows, but his comments have caused a little bit of controversy. What did you make of all that, Johnny?
I think, unfortunately, people seem to pick out and focus on the one thing they can possibly make something out of nothing. So they forget that in that same speech, he said, "Look, don't lose, just march, peaceful protest." Why not big him up for that? When he talked about supporting one another, why not big him up for that? You know, if you want to misconstrue or misunderstand and twist what he's saying, and that's human nature, unfortunately, but it's this kind of attitude, this kind of negative rhetoric, this kind of negative attitude that makes people put 2 and 2 together and come up with 15. So when he's talking about black people investing in black business, and he's saying don't spend your money in their business, he's not talking about white people, because white people are part of his team. They're part of his family. They're part of his culture. It's his upbringing. He's talking about the racists. He's talking about the people that are smiling to your face and stabbing in your back. And so he's encouraging black people to invest in black business. He's encouraging people to make a stance and make a different stance instead of making it a violent process. Yes, what's going on in the world, and some of it has been violent, and it's making people lose the message that's trying to be sent across. It's got to the point where in America, and we're talking about America, but it also happens in England, not as bad. It's a little more stealth in England. America's got to the point where it's almost like South Africa. My man had his hand in his pocket, looking in the camera. You understand? Whereas before it's a little undercover. Yeah, and it's not happened just that week. Yeah, that week, the week before, the week before, week before that. So it's got to the point where this is too blatant. This is now getting out of hand to the point where now it's not just black people that are seeing this. The whole world is seeing this. So it pricks our conscience. So when Anthony Joshua, a man that has a voice, a man that has a chance to send a message, every word he says is scrutinized and can be misinterpreted. Of course that's going to happen. Of course that's what, unfortunately, some narrow-minded people will try and do. What he's trying to do is say, look, let's make a consequence, but let's not make the consequence violence and looting. Let's make the consequence getting in trouble by the police. Make the consequence your business. Make you your stock. Make yourself your stocks and shares. So yeah, okay, then we're going to build up our business. This is what we're going to do. Make a difference, because all of a sudden, when it starts hitting the pockets of stealth racist individuals, then I think, all right, we got to play this a little different. And I understand what Anthony Joshua was saying. I understand where he was coming from. To look at it and remember, he was reading that a message that he kind of endorsed and thought, I get this. So he was reading it out, and I get that. I think it's again unfair, but unfortunately, because of who he is, everything he says and does is going to be scrutinised and questioned.
So I'm going to read you kind of the exact quotes from the speech that he was reading, which
Yeah,
needs to be
but
pointed
make
out.
sure you read. Make sure you read what he said before and after that. Make sure you read about him saying, "Don't lose." Make sure you read about him saying all the positive stuff as well. Because I could read take one line out and you think, "Boy, Anthony Joshua, what are you doing?"
Yeah, of
You know,
course.
he's not an idiot. He's not. This guy is he's a very conscious young black man.
Johnny, I
And
don't have the whole transcript of his whole speech, which lasted about 5 minutes. But we do know that if people have watched what he posted on his live video yesterday, the context in which he was saying it, there is a better understanding to why he was saying that. And I'm not saying that he doesn't believe or not believe the endorsement, because if he's reading it to a certain degree, he has to take some responsibility for
of course.
endorsement. Because,
you know, I'd have read it because I understand what he's saying. And I understand that we have to make a difference some way, somehow. And I know when he was saying that, he wasn't saying don't spend your money in white shop. He wasn't saying that. You know, I know what he was saying. But if you want to think negatively, you're looking for somebody to say, aha, you know, of course, yeah, you know, he's giving people an opportunity to speculate. But
did it need a little bit of clarity a little bit more clarity in what he was saying, or not?
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, for those that are of a certain mindset, yeah. You know, but you know what? As time goes on, and I'm quite sure he's learned as time's gone on through his career, sometimes he's got to choose his words wisely, and which is not very easy, especially when you have a big voice, because when you want to say something, it can always be looked at in 15 different from 15 different directions. So you have to choose your words wisely instead of speaking from the heart. Those that speak from the heart will be open to criticism until somebody sits down and say, well, actually, come on. You know, this is where it was coming from. I'm quite sure Tyson Fury said stuff. I'm quite sure Deontay Wilder said stuff. I'm quite sure Dylan White said stuff. So let's just put things in perspective and just use our brain and intelligence and common sense, because that's what has to be done.
It does seem we do live in an age now, though, where everything you do say, especially for someone as high profile as Joshua, to be very specific, and every word you say needs to be clarified. Otherwise, you're going to get this. You're going to get people, like you just say, if they don't like Joshua or they've got certain other issues, maybe they're going to pick up on, like I said, this was a 7-second piece that was put out on the internet last night without the context of the whole live video that he'd done. So people are always going to pick up on
what's going to happen. And I suppose doing videos like this and sending a message like this will help straighten or help certain people watching this. I get what he's saying. So you've got to do stuff like this. You've got to put something out in his defense and say, come on, and that's just how it is.
Absolutely. Johnny, Anthony Joshua was obviously sitting with that kind of knee brace yesterday. So I'm just kind of reading some quotes here from Boxing Scene, who I think have spoken to Eddie Hearn. Says Joshua has suffered a left knee injury that will sideline him for the next 4 weeks, according to Eddie Hearn. He's not been hiding his injury and was seen around the UK streets earlier this week, standing and sitting with a bulky knee brace on a mobile scooter. Joshua recently felt a twinge in his knee while running, but there doesn't seem to be any immediate concern from Hearn, who anticipates for Joshua to rest for the next month before resuming training for his mandatory challenger Kubrat Pulev later this winter. So, yeah, I mean, it's always a concern when we see any fighter kind of look to be injured, but obviously we want to see Joshua out in the ring this year, and judging from what Eddie Hearn's told Boxing Scene, it doesn't seem to be a problem for Joshua to have that fight later on this year.
And of course, it's going to be surrounded by much speculation. How did he do it? What did he do? Was he on his motorbike ramping about? That's the first thing I thought. You come up for your bike, mate. You know, but it's just, he's still human. He's still got to live his life. He's still got to do the things that, obviously he's got to be careful in what he does. I remember when I was boxing and I'd always be riding a horse. And Frank Warren said, do not ride. I just didn't tell him. I still ride my horse because you can come off it. And it would affect, it could affect a potential fight down the line. I can remember Brendan not telling me to do it. Anthony Joshua's still got a life. So however he did it, he's probably been doing it for years, and he's just, you know, he's just suffered the consequences. He'll just be a little more careful now.
He was obviously scheduled to fight on the 20th of this month, I think it was. So obviously,
I'll say to you again, I'll be very surprised if Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder are out this year. I know the intentions are great. I know that it's a big, massive wish list.
You don't think any of them will fight this year?
No, I don't. I just think. I think the way things. I know it's a big shout, but I know the way things are. Remember, look at the gate these lot attract. So and I know the idea is maybe they could do it without a gate there. These are big stadium fighters, you know. So when is the next time you would possibly realistically see a place where you could possibly get at least 50,000, 60,000 people in to watch some sporting event? Could you really see that happening this year? I don't think things will go back to normal until next year. I really do.
The most realistic one from those, though, is Dylan White, because as far as we know, Dylan White's agreed to fight at the end of this matchroom fight camp 4-week period against Povetkin. So
yeah, so that's the most realistic one. So I'm not saying no boxing will happen. What I'm saying is those three big names that bring massive crowds in. I can imagine the gate receipts are near 10 million. You know, I can imagine the atmosphere is part of the whole show, the whole event. So if you're telling me that you would happily you could see these guys going on, and without the crowd being there, I just can't see it. I think public demand. I just can't see it. I listen. I don't mind being wrong. I ain't Eddie Hearn. I'm not Frank Warren. I ain't no big time promoter. But I think common sense tells you that. And I'm quite sure their intentions are very honourable to say, yeah, we'll get this on. Because Eddie and Frank and everybody have all been saying, look, we're going to put a show on, giving the fans hope. But I just think realistically, these guys, if he did that, it's going to be late in the back end of the year. I'll be very surprised. I just will be surprised. I'd love to see it. I just would be surprised.
Full of optimism, aren't you, Johnny?
So I am Mr. Happy.
All right. Well, what are you doing with your Sunday then?
Sunday, you know what? I've just found there's something that's happening now. Dude, I can't say anything yet because I don't know if it's true or not. Now, I've always suffered from a bad back and my knees and everything mash up. And there's a machine that the guy that brought this machine from Germany that helps with these kind of injuries. And usually when you get older, when you've done sport, unfortunately, you get like arthritis, you get bad backs, you get bad knees, if you've got an injury in your hands or whatever. And there's a machine that I'm going on, and I've been on it 5 times. I'm going to go on it 9 times. And this machine has changed my life in 3 days. And I can't believe it. I'm thinking, this can't be true. So I said to the guy, when I'm sat there, he's explained to me what it does. It's not invasive. I'm sat there, and I told him, I said, I think it's bullshit. And he started laughing. He went, all right, you tell me after 9 days. 9-day course, get on it for an hour, just lay there, watch Netflix, go on your phone. And usually when I get out of bed, I'm like an old man, like, Jesus. I've been up on my toes. I'm thinking, I'm gonna start running again. I'm gonna start doing this again. Because it's like it's a game changer. So what after the 9 days, I'll tell you about it. I'll give you more detail on it. But listen, there's no vested interest for me, so I'm not bigging this guy up to get somebody freebies because I'm like everybody else. But I thought I can't understand why more sportsmen that are suffering injuries or ex-sportsmen that suffered injuries haven't used this. And he said because it's only just coming to the UK. This thing's bad, but give me 9 days. Let me get this 9 day over, and then I'll talk to you. You know, when I'm sitting up and down, I'm like, now I'm just up and down. I'm smiling, man.
Before you started the story, I thought you was going to talk about CBD oil.
Oh, I have enough of that. Well, listen to me. That is the one thing that helped me rest at night time and sleep through this pain. You know, and every night, boom, CBD oil. I'm on it every night. Every night. But now I'm just thought the last 3 nights, I've been able to go to bed without any form of pain killer. Anything. And that's what I'm saying. This is And you know, guys, when you get to a certain age, your back's bunning. It's always men, low back is hurting. And I'm quite sure, a large percent of your guys watching this, low back. I'm telling you now, this thing has changed me within 2 or 3 days. So all of a sudden I'm thinking, boy, I might join this thing with Evander Holyfield when he went to fight again. I won't. But I'm starting to feel like, I know. But I'm starting to feel like, all right, I feel all right. It's good. It's all right. Nice feeling.
So in summary of what you're saying, your body's fucked.
It's not anymore. And but what I'm saying is, let me fill you in about this thing after the period of treatment is over.
All right.
All got away. And then we'll talk about
update. We can do an update about this in 9 days, Johnny. You can tell us whether it works. I'm sure
I'll show you when I'm doing the pirouette and handstands and stuff like that. You see, you watch.
Real weird.
How much weight have you put on since this lockdown's been on?
£8.
Okay, I'll ask you again. How much weight have you put on since this lockdown's been on?
£8.
You've not put £8. You've put enough more than that on. I can tell. Look at your big head. Look at that do-rag on your head. That's
not a do-rag.
What is it? It's got what? See, you've got to put a big old hat on. You see, even your cheekbones have gone. You're all big head.
I'll put £8 on. I know what I put on because I weigh myself.
You'll put £8. All right, do me a favour. Get on the scales and let's see it. And then let's talk next week. Go on, let's see it. Come on, you got some scales
here now. I'm not a performing seal. I'm not going to get on the scales right now.
Come on, man. I'll do it for you.
No, I've put on £8. You're not going to know whether I've put on £8 by just looking at the scales because you don't know what I previously weighed. So I could just.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I bet you this time next week you'll be weighing heavier than you did today.
100%.
Like you're pointing out, each time I see you looking bigger. Look at that double chin. Look at your neck. Look at those rolls of fat. Look at that boobgina you got going on. Come on, you're a guy. What are you doing with a boobgina? You see, you got those tattoos to finish it, to disguise it all. Wow, that's like a cartoon. That's like a. What kind of tats are they?
No one can see what you're fucking talking about. So
man, you got me salivating. You got me salivating. Oh yeah.
All right, Johnny, thank you very much for a little Sunday update, and I'm sure it won't be too long before we speak to you again.
See you soon.
We'll speak soon. Johnny Nelson, thank you very much.
See you later.